Okay. Hi folks, it's Andy. I hope you're having a fantastic day. Welcome to this episode of Kendo Video Feedback. So in this video, or the series of videos, we basically take videos that you have sent to us, you wonderful viewers have sent in, and I watch them and give you any sort of tips and feedback that is hopefully for the betterment of everyone and hopefully useful to everyone. So we've got two videos to look at. Well, it's like three videos, but two submissions today. One is, they're both shiai this time. Last time I think we looked at gradings. I think we looked at 5th dan gradings last time. So we're looking at shiai this time. We're looking at different levels of shiai as well, which is really interesting. The first one is someone just sent one video, and then the second submission is several videos actually, but I'm going to just pick a few out of the ones that you sent, because you sent quite a lot and I don't want this video to go on for hours. And I think we'll get a good impression from a couple of them. But that's from a different level of the spectrum, actually. It's like kind of national team level shiai, which I think is really, really interesting as well. So we'll start with the first one in a minute. But don't forget, first, like, share, subscribe, all that sort of thing, the YouTube stuff. Shop at KendoStar, because it's the best place on the internet to shop for Kendo equipment. Of course, I'd say that because I own the place, but everyone agrees with me. So shop at KendoStar.com. And also, before we get started, don't forget, the people who sent these videos have had the courage to do so. I don't want any rubbish or silly negative criticisms or comments in there. I'll just delete them. All right, I'm not going to tolerate that nonsense. If you think you can do better, I think you know better, send your video and we'll have a look and be the judge of that ourselves. Okay, so context on this first one. This is from the Mimesh tournament. The Mimesh tournament in London just the other week. I understand you are the player in red, if I remember correctly. No, having checked that, you were the player in white. You were the player in white. So on the left side of the screen here, I believe you are Shodan and your opponent is Ikkyu. So it's still a kind of entry level type shiai. Interesting tournament, the Mimesh threes. It's a 3-person tournament. One of the players has to be a Q grade, which I think is super cool. It's a great tournament, big tournament in London, and it's great to see it back on its feet. I was there myself. Wow, what a fantastically beautiful shimpan there. Wow, she is gorgeous. If I met her, I'd have to marry her instantly. So, little clue there. I was there at the tournament. It's a great one. Let's have a look at how you got on. So you're on the left side, okay? It's I like how you filmed it sort of upright. But no problem. Let's have a look. Okay. Good, straight away, Semi. Good. Okay, right. Okay, straight away. There's something I want to pick up on. You know, you sent me some notes on this as well, saying that you felt like your unsuccessful strikes you weren't able to follow them up with Ojuwaza, and not Ojuwaza, sorry, Renzokuwaza, so an extra attack after that. And that's purely because you're correcting that because you're leaving your left foot behind and your hips are behind. All right, you're sort of coming at this from your upper body, and your left foot is far too slow to sort of back you up here. Yeah, I'll just watch this first Kote strike. Bam, this way. 1, 2. Needs to be bam this way. Has to be faster, that left foot. Good dancing though. Keeping attention towards them. That's good. Good try for men. Not quite enough contact there. This part here, right, there's a break in contact. This is where you really need to sharpen this up, so that as you progress through the levels, as you become a higher level player, and it's something that's really common actually, and it's not just at lower level shiai in Europe, but there's like a break in connection between techniques. So he attacks here, your opponent attacks here, and then there's a break here. It's like reset, and then you kind of switch on here. It's like, okay, let's start again. So there shouldn't have been that cut Yeah, there shouldn't have been that cut. Your attention should have been, your concentration, sorry, should have been kind of, and I'm not saying you should have just been attacking all the time, but there's a clear cut in your concentration here. A better player would have had you with Hikiwaza after that, men, to be honest. Good try for men there. Not quite enough to reach the target. Unfortunately, good though, good try. This probably wasn't a good plan, this Kaishido though, because it wasn't Kaishido. Obviously, your opponent has kind of hit at men but stopped on the spot. I mean, I've said this before, I think in the grading videos as well. What I'd like you to sort of consider a bit about as well is the sort of awareness. Like, you need to be aware that when you... I don't have a problem with you trying this Kaishido, but you need to be aware immediately that this strike had no chance whatsoever of being considered Ippon, all right? Which is fine. We all make, you know, everybody makes strikes throughout the shiai that aren't successful, fine. But there was no point trying to sell it, yeah, running off this kind of zanshin for something that didn't happen. You'd have been better just closing the distance and then maybe going for a Hikiwaza or something like that. So again, it's about this left foot. I see what you're doing here. You're trying to open something up, yeah? But there's a kind... The rhythm here is not quite right, yeah? It's kind of 1, 2, 3 sort of thing. 1, 2, 3. They're not going to fall for it. They're not going to fall for it. It has to. Your left foot has to come with you. And then if you're gonna do something that's going to make them flinch, it's got to be kind of a... like that, not a... this way. They're not going to fall for it. It's got to be a... pam, pam, this way. It's got to be snappy, yeah? So again, I don't know what this was here. Is that ski or kode? I'm not sure. But can you see how your left foot is totally turned outwards, which is why you can't launch your hips straight forward into the strike? Can you see how I can full on see your tada name, basically your zekken, or whatever you're supposed to call it these days, nafudaiza? So your hips are slightly rotated this way, and your upper body is totally in the strike, which is why, can you see this shape here? This isn't the shape you want to be doing, yeah, because your upper body, you sort of leading with your upper body. So I want you to concentrate more on keeping power in your left leg, left foot straight, and launching from your hips, so that if you have a missed strike, you're not in this sort of prawn shape. Yeah, that's what they call it in Japanese, ebi shape. Ebi is prawn, or shrimp, sort of curled like this, because you've got no chance of doing anything here. You can't do anything again. Yeah, so this is addressing that point you made very rightly about struggling to make that nidan waza, yeah, or renzoku waza, or it's not even necessarily renzoku waza. It could just be the next waza. You have to kind of reset before you can move on to the next technique. See, like this, you've had to reset. Good. I mean, you're doing good. I mean, I'm throwing loads of criticism at you. You're doing good. This is a good chance for men here, but you were just a little bit slow. Just a little bit slow, and that's because, one, your feet aren't quite backing you up, so you can't move instantly. There was a delay in switching on because we've had that break in concentration, whereas you weren't sort of... You've got to be on... In shiai, you've got to be on a knife edge the whole time. Do you know what I mean? Like, you've got to be, like, tense. And not, like, tense like this, but you need to be mentally tense, concentrating the whole time. There's no... In the shiai, you don't have chance for that. They're going to hit you if that happens, or you're going to miss the chance to hit. And that can't happen, right? So, because that's happened, by the time you've realised, it's too late, and that's why you're a little bit too close. Your footwork's not really sorted out, and you've used a bit too much right hand to swing the shinai a bit too far as well. But that's kind of expected for someone at your level. That'll work itself out in time. I don't want to push that too much. See how you left your left leg behind when you hit the kote there? Your left leg stayed still, and you just stepped forward on the right and hit kote. So of course you couldn't follow it up. So a good player here, right? You see where you get caught there is going to use that. Is going to use that on either side. Either the red player is going to do the hikiwaza straight away, or a good, really good player is going to be able to whip out, like, there's a really good chance for hikikote for you here, hikikote, but you have to be really, you have to have finesse to do it. It's a little bit further along than where you're at the minute, which is fine, but I'm just highlighting it so that you know that that is an option, yeah? Just because your shinai gets caught between their kote or whatever, doesn't mean everything has to stop. It's really dangerous. This is dangerous door here. This is a very dangerous door here. Knowing here is the kyusha, some shimpan would lift that door. Okay, so you have to be careful, and it's because you see how there was this break in concentration again. Yeah, there's a break in concentration here. Reset. Okay, start again, and then suddenly he comes at you, and you're not quite sure how to deal with it. Obviously, you assume he's coming from men, so the hands come up, which is natural, normal, no problem. But he does hit that door. Now, it's not the greatest door in the world. It really isn't. I get that, but you know, you kind of lucky there. You got away with it. Brilliant, man. But yeah, okay. So he's left himself exposed to that men, though. That was a very good man. Very good man. So again, I think the biggest problem you've got here is just leaving that left leg behind. You see how slowly it comes up after you make the strikes, and it's especially after kote in your case. Yeah, but you see here, see how slowly it comes up. Like, how many frames is that? It should be like one. Or half a frame. Quarter of a frame. No, but it's too slow. It's too slow. You're focusing too much on the stamp and not enough on the launch. All right. The Fumikomi is not about the stamp. It's more about the launch, if anything. That was risky. That was risky. See, I tell you where what the problem was there is you sort of threw a feint in and then switched off. So that's super problematic. Yeah, it was kind of an empty threat. Do you know what I mean? It's like you did that and he reacted, which is what you wanted, but you weren't kind of prepared for it. You see what I'm saying? So if you're going to do that, fine, but it needs to be legit. You know what I mean? You can't throw an empty threat there, otherwise you are going to get caught. Because to be honest, you're very lucky that the other two didn't go with that. I thought it was pretty good. You see, so again, yeah. So we've got a similar thing here, and I think after that previous man, the problem you have, right, and this is natural in the shiai, and people can complain about it all they want, but it's fact. It's fact of the, you know, fact of the game is that if somebody makes a good point and it doesn't get awarded as ippon, then the chances of them being awarded a point that is maybe like a 60%, 70% quality strike immediately after that is quite high, all right? Because the shimpan, it's not that the shimpan want to like kind of make up for the fact they missed one, but there is a sort of natural feeling of, oh, we better watch closer for this because we just missed one. Perhaps just missed one. So you have to be extra careful. Yeah. It's, you know, and people can complain about that and say it's not right that shimpan should do that, something like that. But shimpan are human, and it's common across the board that happens, and internationally as well around the world, that happens, and it is part of the human side of shimpan. And if as long as we want to retain shimpan being human, it's one of the things we're going to have to accept rather than complain about. I'm not saying that it should be encouraged either, but it is just it's a natural human aspect of the shimpan. So his previous men was probably a little bit better than this one. but he sort of caught you. Do you know what's the thing is I know that you're against the Q grade here, but his technique is very good. His technique is very good. He's moving the shiai with his left hand. There's no wasted movement. Whereas with your shiai, you see how you've brought it all the way back here, and it's given him the door. It's given the doors open there for him to strike your men. So I'd look at that and think a little bit more about how you're using your hands to swing the shiai there. Okay. Very good. Well, that's fine. That's why we do shiai. I like your kamae though. Your kamae is very good. Oh, that was a pretty good kote. Pretty good kote, but bad zanshin. Alright? This isn't how we finish the kote strike. Yeah? Like this. Yeah, the shiai should be in front of you, to your left slightly, finish with the taiatari. Rather than with your hands over your head. Alright? And if you want to get through Nidan, you need to fix that, definitely. Yeah? It was a good strike, good timing, but I kind of agree with the exceptionally beautiful shimpan over there that it's not really quite enough because you kind of spoiled it. All right, great strike. I understand why the other two awarded it. I'm not saying they're wrong, but to improve next time to make sure you get 3 flags, I'd sharpen up that zanshin a little bit. All right, so good kamae, a little bit too much right hand in your cuts, in your strikes, and you need to sharpen up that left leg. All right, the left leg is just too slow with your hikitsukeashi, with the left foot coming up. All right, you need to really think about the launch rather than the stamp when you're launching in with your strikes. And as I say, your zanshin after hitting kote especially, hands shouldn't be over your head this way. All right, there's no way you could make a follow-up strike if necessary. Okay, great shiai though, well done. I think you did excellent in it. Very good one to watch, and I'd encourage you to keep going. I think, you know, with work you can definitely get towards Nidan and definitely start to see more success. Okay, let's move on. Okay, so here's the next one that was submitted. As I say, you sent in quite a few videos, but I've just picked 2 out that were sort of better quality and a little bit more manageable length to deal with. These videos are from the this year's EKF zone Shimpan seminar. So the seminar that I believe selects the Shimpan for the European Championships. And obviously national team players go there as well to perform shiai in order for the shimpan to you know, referee in order for this process. This is from this year. It was a bit of a different one this year, I think, because of it was the first one back after everything being closed for a bit. And you are white. Okay, you're white. Obviously, there's, you know, a collection of national team players here. I'm not particularly trying to highlight anyone by name or anything like that. But obviously, there's people here that are pretty well known. But let's have a look anyway. So you're the white player. All right. So we'll look at the first one. Let's have a look. Okay, fair enough. You obviously got height on your side here, which is good, really useful. I'd be careful of this. This is dangerous. See here how you step back. It's not necessarily wrong, but you've not necessarily prepared yourself as you've moved back. You've just moved back with your left leg. So it's not really in the most efficient position it could be in order to make ojiwaza or debanowaza. So you need to be really careful there. I would say as well, I won't say that. So be really careful with the way you're defending. All right. The best way to defend against, you know, players like this very fast, is you know, if you stand there and just receive with the hands and the shiai, you're going to get caught. All right. So you need to use your footwork really well to defend. It's hard. It's hard against some of these players. You know. Okay. All right. So here, this is what I mean. Same sort of thing that I just said a second ago, right? We watch what happens here. There's this sort of, it's hard. I get it. I've been there. I understand. But that's what he's looking for. He's looking for that reaction so that he can make this men strike. All right. He's looking for that. So what you really needed to do there is that, and it's easier said than done. I appreciate this, but what you really needed to do there was move forward, not backwards. All right. And I mean with your feet, not just your body. All right. But if you'd closed in, moved with your footwork as well, it'd have made this type of technique much, much harder. Obviously covering with your hands too. So it is what it is. Again, you got to be just a bit careful here. It's difficult because, yeah, I mean, he's touched a kote there. You know, lots of Shimpan would award this, especially as, let's face it, the partner you're with here is pretty well known. So you're fighting a bit of an uphill battle as well. Because, again, what I'm concerned about with your shiai so far is, and look, you know, I'm not going to lie, right? I'm not going to lie. I'm not going to sort of mess around here. I know who you're playing against. I've played against them as well. I've won matches with them. I've lost matches with them. So I know what's going on here. Yeah, I know what it's like to play against a player not just like this. I know what it's like to play with him. And it's very, very difficult. But what you're struggling with here is this position that you're in, where your feet are very, very wide apart and you're sort of planted and blocking with your hands and you're putting yourself at risk. All right. I'd like to see you narrow that stance a little bit more. You've got the height on your side. All right. You've got the height on your side. And when you feel threatened and you're not able to respond with your own waza, then close the distance to them. Don't stay and try to take it, because, you know, some players and this person as well, I know for very, very well. He's very, very technically adept, and he's very good at finding a way through that. I can tell you that from my own experience. And you managed to get away with that, which is good. So I just think you could have a more effective kamae, which would be able to assist your defense as well as your attack. At the minute, it's just a little bit too, because of your footwork's a little bit too far apart. Your left leg's probably a little bit too bent. So you're not able to necessarily react instantly when you could do with, you know, when you need to, whether it's to close the distance or even better would be to do some kind of orjuwaza. Yeah. If you know, this point here, I don't think this is, I want to see this left leg a little bit straighter and a little bit closer. And I think what you'll find is if you did that, because you got the height, it would have such a different effect on your opponent. It would have such a different effect. It would be much more intimidating. You would definitely see more effect from your semi. Wow. Okay, good. This is your men. This is your men. So this is excellent. But unfortunately, as I said, it's very, very difficult when you're playing against a very well-known player. Sometimes you lose the points that perhaps you shouldn't have lost, and you don't get awarded the points you perhaps should have been awarded. I've had these experiences myself on both sides of the coin. All right, so it is what it is. But this was an excellent men. This is an excellent men, because you have used your footwork well, even though, like I say, I'd like to see you move that position of the left foot, because you've planted it there. and you've started this, you've initiated this, that is a great men strike. It's a great men strike. It's a shame that it was overlooked. I like what you've done here with your Kote strike. You had a good chance for Kote there, but you left it too late before you really went for it, and you've got too much right hand going on so that you can't actually maneuver the shiai effectively to make that strike sharp enough for it to actually reach the target. All right. So there's too much of a gap between your feint and your strike. Yeah, instead of this kind of pam pam, it really needs to be pam. You need to just shorten that time between the feint and the actual strike. And as I say, there's just a little bit too much of your right hand trying to control the shiai there, which is why it's a little bit, what can I say, like awkward. Yeah, it's just too much. All right, so you need to bring the left hand a little bit more. All right, it was a good chance, but that's men as well. Good. All right. Good. What? Oh, yeah. This one's your men as well. So the thing is like, I think you're in a really good place with how you're using your footwork in a lot of respects. But I just think if you brought that left foot up a little bit closer and straighten your left leg a little bit more, more of the time, it doesn't have to be all of the time. It would have a much more effective impact on your opponent. All right. This is clearly your men. You know. Yeah. We'll watch it again. Well, these things happen. These things happen. Unfortunately, I've had this experience too. It is what it is. All right. That's what I'd like to see you improve, to be honest. And I definitely think you'd have more success. I just think you'll have more effective semi if you sort out that left foot. Let's have a look at your next video. And again, you're on the left-hand side. See, this is a better position. I'd like to have seen this in the previous video. Yeah, this is a much better position, and you look taller, you look more intimidating. Left heel's a little high, but I know it's a paradox because I just said straighten your left leg. So here, right, here, where he's trying to mess with you, right, he's trying to irritate you, yeah? Lots of players do this, and it's very, very effective, yeah? This kind of thing, it's annoying. You want to take a big step forward as soon as he does that. Step right in so that he can't hit you. Stepping back here is super dangerous, all right? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, so, yeah. So there's an interesting thing that happened there. There's an interesting thing that happened there, right? I'm not criticizing the shimpan. It happens a lot, but you see how like okay, no, actually I'm not criticizing the shimpan at all because I misunderstood what happened. There was one flag for that men because it was dangerous. It sounded good, and the one shimpan that couldn't see it as well judged it could be Ippon, which is fine. It probably looked like it from that point of view, sounded like it certainly, and it was a good chance, as I say, because you sort of gave him the chance. The other two that see it a bit better say no, and then obviously I think the player realizes it's not really Ippon as well, so he kind of calms it down, and the shimpan in the corner there retracts her decision there, which is totally fine, totally normal. But what I'm saying here is that there was a dangerous point there, a dangerous spot, yeah, where, as I said, because you moved back here, you gave him the chance there, you gave him it, you were like, the shimpan there are like, ooh, something's going to happen here. Yeah. So if you just move forward instead of drawing back like that, you'd have had, you wouldn't have been at risk. I want you to be careful of this too. All right. In, out, in, out, in, out. If you're going in, just go in. Just go in and deal with it. If it doesn't work out, go forward again. All right. What I'm talking about here is I want you to, and I'm saying this from experience. This is a barrier I had to get over as well when I was competing a lot. But if it's not working, this isn't the way to go. You want to go this way. All right. Because if you're too close, they can't hit you. They can't hit you, all right? Now, there's a small number of very good players in Japan who can turn the footwork around and hit a really good hikiwaza at an instant, but they're very few and far between. And even then, in this situation, it's very difficult for them to do it, all right? I'm not talking about whipping out hikiwaza from the standard subazeriai. I'm talking about when somebody is really coming in to destroy the distance and essentially nullify any chance of being hit. It's very, very hard for someone to deal with that, even for very high level players in Japan. But if you start stepping back, you're giving them the chance. I want you to try and just get rid of this as well. You never want this left foot on the floor. Never, ever, 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 ever. It's a golden rule, that, okay? Good chance for Kote there. Good chance for Kote there. Oh, I think they gave it as well. That's pretty good. Are we in? Yeah. Let's have a look. Yeah, it was pretty decent. It was pretty decent. Let's watch it again. Yeah, I like that. That was different to the one you did in the last one. In the last one, it was kind of like this faint stop and then hit. Whereas this one, you kind of came in. Your semi towards men happened as you moved in, and then you dropped onto the kote. That was very good. If I were you, if I'm going to nitpick, stay here, all right? I know you realise it's probably Ippon, but you're in your field of vision right now. I know you can probably hear Kote Ari, and you can tell from the atmosphere that it's Ippon, but it's best not to draw away. Just try to stay close until it's over. Just better to build that as a habit. Good Kote though. So again, you see that? You see what I'm saying here? This is what I want you to remove. You remove this, I'm telling you now, right? If you fix this kamae and you can get rid of this withdrawing, like I think you're going to see such a massive change in the success of your shiai. This part here where you've moved back, it's so hard. I get it, and I've been there. And I've done it, and this is why I'm recognizing it, because it's something I had to overcome. I'm still struggling with it. Probably if I went in shiai, I'd probably struggle with it as well these days. I don't know, but you don't want to defend like this. It's too dangerous. Like this too. This as well. Not this way. Move forward, and he hasn't got a chance to come at you again. And a little bit, there's a little bit too much of a break in concentration here. This kind of switch off and start again here. Yeah. I'd rather you just keep that a little bit more. Let's lose this. You don't need it. It's not helping you. In, out, in, out. It's not, it does, this isn't the way you're gonna, you can use a step back to encourage them to strike you. So you can do Debano Waza or Ojuwaza. This isn't the way to do it. This is not the way to do it. So it's a shame here as well that if you want to get to the next step, and I think especially like in the European Championships, this sort of thing, going towards the World Championships, if you can become a player that when at this point here, this exact point in the video, you can do hikiwaza like hikido, you'll have a lot of success. All right, it's hard because you need really sharp footwork, but you'll have, bam, if you hit a really good hikido there, those flags are going up. Again, this coming back here, left foot goes down. If you think you're going to get hit, I know I think I'm probably overdoing this now. Like, I'm repeating this a lot. I just want to make sure I'm clear on it. And it's not just for you, don't forget. This is for everyone who might be watching this and is obviously struggling with similar things. But when you feel scared that you're going to get hit, the worst thing you can do is stand still and raise your hands. The second worst thing you can do is step back and raise your hands, all right? Or lean back. The best thing to do is step forward, all right? Step forward, because they can't hit you if you're too close, right? That's the way to defend. See how this is what I mean by this break in concentration that I'd love to see disappear. This part here where it's like, I know you've got to separate because of the rules and stuff, but you can't keep concentrating, because by this point you're ready to fight again. But you need a second here to kind of reset. So you could do with getting rid of that. I know I'm throwing a lot at you here. Look, you're doing great in the shiai, don't get me wrong. At all. It's a great shiai. That was a well seen chance for Kaishido, but it was a little bit too predictable. So you couldn't quite sell him enough to commit to his men. Do you know what I mean? There needs to be a bit more work there. It's a little bit in depth, that as to how you need to sell that. I don't really want to go into it too much here, but for now I'd just say it was a good chance, but it wasn't enough to convince him that he could really throw everything into that men, which is what you need to get the Kaishido. You see what I mean? It's the same sort of thing here. As he comes forward, more back, you know, and then you're in this sort of dangerous position. Now, it's fine, because, you know, and especially as you are a point up. You know what I mean? You need to be careful. Now, having said all that, I've said all this. If you just, every time they step in, if you just step forward and block, you're going to get hand sock for wasting time as well. So you have to engage in the shiai, don't forget. Right? You have to engage in the shiai, don't forget. But stepping back all the time like this, the only thing you're going to do is just going to cop a strike. So if you get scared, if you feel like you're going to get hit, move in so they can't hit you. Then you could instantly try to do the hikiwaza, or if not, separate and then start again. But don't step back, don't lean back, and don't plant your feet. All right, they're the two main things I think I'd take from this. Those are two fantastic shiai, to be honest with you. Really good, very, very high level. Obviously, this is a sort of shiai level that we'd expect to see at the European Championships in the higher rounds. I think you've got the potential to obviously do very well in that sort of tournament. I think if you fix a couple of these things that I've talked about, if you fix that kamae and you start to have that little bit more sort of impression on the other person, you're going to find that the shiai unfolds very differently. For a start, I think if you can fix this defense as well and start to get a little bit better at Ojuaza. I think there's a little bit too much tension in your wrists, so that's why you're struggling with it a little bit with some of the, like that kote strike from before. I think that ties into why we're not really seeing much Ojuaza out of you. But if we saw that as well, because look, even if it's not that successful, like if you throw Ojuaza at somebody in this level of tournament, then they're like, oh crikey, now I've got to be careful about throwing out my waza. You know, it makes a difference psychologically. So there's what I'd say with that. Great shiais though, well done. I hope it's useful, and thanks for sending it in. Thank you to everyone that sent the videos today. And if you'd like to send videos to us as well for this same type of video, it can be a shiai like we've looked at today. It could be a grading like we looked at last time. It could be just do a kick or whatever. Send it to me. Link is just put a link on from YouTube, set it to unlisted or something like that, and then just email it to mail@KendoStar.com, and I'll put it in a video. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, shop at KendoStar, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.